going to be showing you guys how you can build out this N8N workflow right over here, which saves me hours every single month posting images to social media. We're going to create the images in this workflow from scratch, and I'm going to show you how we could do that in just about 20 minutes. I'm going to jump on my computer right now, talk about the problem statement, and then we're going to go over how this works. All right, so backstory time. This is for kind of my hobby YouTube channel, which is Breakout Cards. One of the things I do is love card collecting. I collect a lot of non-sports, baseball cards, cricket cards, boxing cards, etc. Right? And so I post these here on my social media account. Well, I used to post them, right? So you can see some of the dates that were on here. Like this was posted April 3rd, 2024. This was posted April 6th. And these are just podcasts that I was on. They tagged me on social media. And really, I haven't posted in forever. So what I want to do is start posting again. And one of the things that took a lot of time for me to post is just generating these images. I have to essentially download all these files. I have to load them up to Photoshop. I got to find background images, make it sized for Instagram, post them. Like it's a task. And to be honest, I didn't get a ton of value from just posting this stuff on here. So I want to automate sections of it. And this first video, what we're going to do is automate the picture generation. And this is just going to be version 1 of the image generation, because there's some other stuff I think I could add in here that will make these better. But let me show you essentially what we're going to do. When I grade cards, which grading, by the way, a little bit of background, is essentially getting an assessment on a card. It'll get put into this slab, and I want to post those on my account. So when you grade cards, you get a folder full of the images for the cards. So you can see like over here, I recently graded this. I'm not sure why it's not showing. I'm just going to refresh this. And you can see this is a Benjamin Harrison card from 1890, right? Card is in here. I have the slab on the outside. This would be an awesome Instagram post. So what I want to do is automatically generate these into images. And I was able to do that with this workflow right over here. Right? And we'll go through all the steps on this workflow, but I just want to show you what kind of expected output is over here. So this is one that's in my folder. This is Hannibal, right? It's a card from 1888. It's a grade of a 5. And I have this in this nice back drop, right? You have dark clouds over here, the dark slab. It stands out in my personal opinion. And let's take a look at another one, right? We have Grant on this side of things. And then you have Amelia Earhart. And so this one is actually rotated. And one thing you would note if you paid attention carefully, look at the sizes of these, right? This is a normal size. This is an oversized slab. So what I want to do is essentially create images for 4 different options, right? Normal size, oversized, rotate normal size, and rotate oversized. And I'm not going to say that this workflow is perfect, because right now I am still debugging some small sections. Like this isn't working on all oversized, which is okay. This will be something I can work on for future videos and also take some community feedback. There's also one other thing I do want to bring up. So in this folder over here, right, there's also pictures of the back of cards. Now I'm going to upload all these images from a folder into my Google Drive, right? And so you have card images over here. But I want to ignore anything that's a back. And the way that we can do that, if you look, we have some that are labeled _front, some that are labeled _back. So what this workflow will allow me to do is take in images into my Google Drive, right? Download the images, resize them for Instagram, add in the background, and then repopulate them over here in Breakout IG. Now, over subsequent videos, we might do more with it, but for now, that is the goal for this first workflow build out, right? Again, we are trying to get posts here on social media. I'm lazy and don't want to create all those Photoshop images. Yes, I could technically hire someone, but there's literally no gain from posting that on social media. And I don't even like spending a lot of time on social media. So let's jump into it and essentially how I built this out. So we're going to start off with just doing a execute workflow, so you can see this work in real live time. So you can see these just go right through, right? And we'll just follow this through, goes through the AI agent, go all the way through. On this side of things, downloads, right? Loops back, goes through, right? That was a large image. Over here, right? So one item has been over here, one item has been over here. one item over here for normal rotate, and let's see if this large rotate works. It probably won't, and it's something we'll talk about how we could fix that in the future. And you can see it doesn't large no rotate, but that's okay. 3 out of the 4 worked correctly. Well, technically 4 out of 5, because I did put one back picture over here. But yeah, let's jump right into it. So how I started this off, there's 2 ways that I could have started off this workflow, right? How I decided to go on here is when clicking execute workflow. Now, the reason why I did that, 2 things. Number one, I can just click over here and execute workflow, but also like number 2, I'm only going to be uploading in images over here to the folder when I get cards graded. And I grade cards every 2 months or so, which is a lot for a lot of people, right? But workflow wise, I don't need to constantly refresh this Google Drive folder. You can if you're going to upload images more often. Personally, I'd rather just knock all these out at once. Okay. So there's nothing that I pressed in over here. This is just literally default on here, a default trigger, and we have that. Okay. So up next, what we're going to do is find folder for images. So what we're going to do is set up our Google Drive account, which I do have a video on the channel for that already. So feel free to check that out. We're going to look for file folder. We're going to do a search operation, search for file folder name, right? I did a limit of 250 images. Like if you go back over here, most of the stuff isn't going to be over 250, right? Like 112 files, 216, 240. Typically I don't send in that many. So that 240 was a crazy one. But anyways, that's why I put the limit here of 250. Feel free to do what you want. And then folder, I'm saying from list card images. Okay, so this grabs all the images from this folder, right? One at a time. And that's one thing to know. They're only going to be grabbing these one at a time. You can see the 5 items. Next thing what I do is filter out the back images. So I don't care about stuff that has the back, as I mentioned earlier, right? This has underscore back. So I don't want to have these. So essentially what I have is an if, right? If true, if false. So if there's a back over here, right? I just want to do nothing with these back images, right? I don't want it to go through my loop. And you can see over here, what I did is I look at the name. So I grabbed this element over here, this JSON name, and I said, if it contains a front, we're good to go. Otherwise, it's going to be false. And we go over here to back images. Now, this is the next section, which is going to be the loop. I'm going to explain this a little bit better here at the very end, but essentially, as I mentioned, right, we're going through these files one at a time, right? So one image should go through the workflow, right? Upload a drive. Then we go to the next image. And if we zoom out, right, you can see at the very end, we go all the way over here to this Google Drive, right? This is the end on here, and it says there's 4 images. You can see it connects, right? We have this, and it goes all the way, keep scrolling back into this loop, right? So we start all over again. And this loop only has the front images because I filtered out the back images, right? So we search for the folder, we make sure that we only grab the front images from the folder, and then we loop over each of the different front images. And I relabeled these, right? So it's a little bit cleaner. It says loop to iterate over the front images. Okay, so let's jump into this next side of things. First thing we're gonna do is download the front image, right? So we're gonna download each image from here. And you can see over here, we go to Google Drive account, we grab a file, download by ID, which is our JSON ID. And I just relabeled our output and file name, right? So this is one of the examples. And this just shows you that this has been downloaded correctly over here. Then what we're going to do is edit the image, right? So this edit image allows us to get the information for the image. And then we have the resize side of things, right? Whether we want to resize normal or we want to resize large, right? So you can see the parameters on here on that side of things. And how I was able to do this is going to be through another if, right? So what I looked at is if the width on the image is larger than 900, I know that this is a normal sized card, right? If it's less, it's going to be a larger size card, which sounds opposite, right? But I promise you, I loaded these up in Photoshop, I measured them, and what I found is the larger cards usually have a size of 850 to 890, then the normal size typically have 900 plus, right? So it takes us to 2 options, right? Resize large or resize normal. And you can see like this is a resize normal, and we can go over here to view, and we have Earhart over here, right? So this is the example on that side of things. And then we resize large, right? We go over here to view, and this is a large card that has been resized. Now, at one point I had these resized after the switch over here, which we'll talk about switch, but I found it's better to resize these early on. Okay, so these images, right, whether it's a normal or large, they're gonna go into two places. So the first place is gonna be in a merge, right? And the second place is we wanna put these into our AI agent, which we're gonna talk about whether we should rotate an image or not. So again, these get split off, they get sent to two places. So we go down over here. The first thing I do with these images before I go to the AI agent is crop the image, right? So one of the things I wanted to test out is specifically the cropping on the card, right? If it could tell if it's gonna be and needs to be rotated or not. And the reason is, if you take a look at a lot of these cards, right? They have this part here at the top. And my assumption was, our model is going to go and analyze the image. It's going to see this here at the top, right? And even if I tell it, I prompt it not to read this, it's still going to probably read it, right? So why not just crop it? And we're still using the same initial image and join a little bit later based off of the decision on the model, whether the image needs to be rotated or not. And, maybe that was the downfall on why this one specifically doesn't work. Like the other ones work, and this one doesn't work. And there's a few options that I can explore a little bit later on, right? Like maybe is it better to use OCR on this side of things? Maybe better to upload both images and compare. Again, this is version 1, right? But our AI agent over here, right? I wrote a prompt on this side of things. And I promise you this prompt worked for a lot of the other ones. I'm just showing you the one that didn't work for, right? But I said, you're an image orientation checker. You're tasked to determine if the trading card and image is rotated incorrectly, right? Carefully examine the printed text on the card. Check if letters appear, right? Look for common letters. So I gave it some common letters and then talk about other side of things, right? I'm not going to read it one for one, but also mention like after the letters, look for the face, right? And then talk about the decision logic, why that happened. Valid JSON output, talked about the rotation, whether it needs to be rotated or not. The signature, which is how we're going to link this image back into the original image, right? Each of these images have a signature associated with it. So you can see on this side of things, if we scroll down, there's that signature, which is that unique ID. I assume it's a unique ID. And text. So this one says rotate none. And it says debug text is horizontal and faces upright, card is correctly. And that's obviously a hallucination, right? Because if we go back to our binary data, this is what's being sent. Like that face is not upright. Like it's not there. And the text isn't either. So probably a little bit more prompting. Maybe we could prompt with some scores and stuff like that. Again, I'll probably show you a version 2 a little bit later on. But I wanted to get this video out there, right? So just a quick update on this side of things. What I did is essentially build out a table for the prompting side of things. And I've been testing different prompts and things like that. One thing that I think that could be interesting as well is having a confidence score in over here. So what I noticed is like the confidence on the ones that are completely vertical are 0.95. The other ones are under 0.95, so 0.85 and 0.9. I'm going to do more testing to see if adding in a confidence score helps. I think it could. And obviously like the 0.9 still says rotate none, but maybe I could have some logic in the next step talking about the confidence score, right? And override this rotate specifically. Like if the confidence is 0.9 or lower, it has to be rotated. I don't know. Like I don't have a lot of data to test this with right now. I've just used the 5 images, right? The 4 that actually went through the loop. And I'll test this out in the future, right? But I think this is a pretty good first step into tweaking the model, right? Keep on testing different prompts, think of different ideas. I do like this confidence idea quite a bit. And yeah, as I develop this a little bit more, we'll cover that in another video. But back into this model. So we have that. Next, what I do is just clean up the JSON output with this over here, some basic Python code talking about JSON, which I will have the pandas JSON video out soon too. I'm prepping that if you are new to here. But you can see there's 4 runs over here, right? So run 1, the text is horizontal and the card is upright, right? Run 2, the text appears upright, card is cracked. Text 3, right? Letters appear rotated, faces sideways, cards need rotation. And then step 4, card is correctly oriented, right? So it shows you each of these runs on here. So 3 out of 4 were correct. And I guess I could have shown you that over here too, right? If you don't believe me. Text is horizontal, faces upright, right? Text appears upright, face. This needs to be rotated, right? And then what I do is I merge. So again, whether it's a resize normal or resize large, and then also the results from the AI agent, I merge these two together. So you can see like all these over here. This one, it's going to say doesn't need to be rotated, and that's there, right? We go to run 2. Again, doesn't need to be rotated. We go to run 3. This is one that's going to need to be rotated. And if you go back into the schema side of things, I guess we would have to go back another step. Let me go back over here. Right? It says rotate on this over here for the schema. I was meant to say go back to look at the JSON, but we can find it right here in the JSON, right? Letters appear rotated, the faces sideways. So it worked for one of the two rotated side of things. I didn't test it with a lot of images. Probably something I should do, but regardless, we have that information, right? We merged the result of the AI agent. We merged in the result of this photo over here. So now we're just looking at the main image. We're not looking at the cropped image anymore. Okay. So now what we're going to do is take that merge result and we're going to go into the switch. Now, why I built a switch initially instead of if else. So my thought was there's 3 different ways to present a card, right? You could rotate right, you could rotate left, or no rotation at all. But what I found is essentially all the cards that I've sent in to get graded, they only need to be rotated right if rotated at all. So I decided not to put in that rotate left. Now, the thing is, like even with this one, like rotate right on this one, right? But the thing to mention is that's not the case for all grading companies. So if I do get cards graded by another grading company, maybe I'll have to rotate left, right? Now, this is the primary company I go to, which is SGC, but you know, things do change in the hobby. And you can see like, here's another one, right? Rotate right. At least in all the examples that I've recently done, you had to rotate right. So that is why I just built that out for rotate right. And again, like, I feel like it's better just to build this out now. If I need to add to it, I can add to it. Okay, so all the stuff that needs to be rotated, we're gonna go into this over here, which rotates right. Again, we grab in the name of the file, right? So this is the Earhart over here, and it rotates it right. And this is the output over here, which is really awesome, right? Because I don't have to rotate these at all. It automatically rotates it. If there's no rotation, it goes into this node over here, which is no rotate size, and this is rotate size. So then this if else takes a look at the image width, which we grab over here, and determines if it's a large image or a small image. Again, something that I found in Photoshop. One caveat to mention. So even after rotating, right, what you'll notice is on this side of things, the width is still 900 or 992 and the height is still 1600. So it's still looking at the initial side of things, even though the image is rotated. So that might throw you off a little bit. I know it threw me off a little bit when I was building out this workflow. But just remember, original orientation, even after rotation, is going to be attached over here to that schema. So essentially, I just looked at the JSON width, right? If it's greater than 900, right, we know it's a normal size, else it's going to be a larger size. And then what I did is I built out the 4 different composites. I forgot to mention this step right here. So this step over here just grabs the background for each of these, right, and attaches it here. And I know I'm going to get some comments like, hey, that's inefficient, putting 4 backgrounds over here. Listen, the reason why I have this in here right now, and again, this is version 1, is I'm going to be working on kind of like drop shadows and things like that with these images over time. So I'm going to adjust the backgrounds, and additionally, like, I don't know where this is going to go in the future. Like, I could prompt and build out a background and then attach the image to it. It could be interesting, right? If you look at what I did in the past, I used to put custom images and things like that. So that is a possible use case. I haven't decided if I want to do that as of yet. I'm like 50-50 on it, right? But that's the reason why I have all these over here. I'm thinking I might make some small modifications for like shadows and lighting for smaller cards versus larger cards, horizontal or vertical. And because of that, I'd rather just throw all these in over here and just make those changes a little bit later on. Lastly, what I do is create a composite. So essentially what a composite allows us to do is combine multiple images together. So you can see on here, like this one is the incorrect one, but we have the background and then we have the image here at the top, right? And this is the normal on here again. So how we define that is we put the background, whatever's the farthest back, as the property name, and then the image that's on top is going to be in the composite, right? So I just grabbed the JSON name because this is going to be dynamic, right? This background, right, we already have over here, so I didn't have to add in the JSON on that side of things. And again, if you want to see a large no rotate, run one, right, we can just go over here. You can see it on there. And yeah, so normal no rotate. Again, we can just go over here and view that, go to the background, and it looks like that. Okay, lastly, depending on, you know, which one we choose, they're all going down into Google Drive. So I'm just uploading these into a folder in Google Drive. So Google Drive account, right? File, upload, background. The file name, which I just called IG underscore, whatever the name is, upload to my drive and go for the breakout IG folder, which I show you over here. Breakout IG, right? And these are all duplicated because I just built them out again. And yeah, and after that, right, it just goes right back over here and loops again. So that's essentially kind of the workflow. It's automated a lot, right? You can think about it. If I'm doing 100 images or 50 images at a time, right? Like how much time is it going to take in Photoshop? Even if I spend 3 minutes, 4 or 5 minutes a photo, right? Let's say it takes 5 minutes a photo and I have 50 images. That's 250. Now that's over 4 hours. And that's assuming like I'm going very, very fast. Some of these take longer and stuff like that. Initially, I still have to save them all. Like there's a lot of work involved with it. And now I've just automated it. So really, really cool. Obviously, I still have that one issue with rotation. It's not perfect. Models do struggle at determining the correct orientation at times. But I think in the future, like better models could solve that. Or there's other ways with OCR and stuff like that. And that would be a potential thing to look into. It is a small bug of this. But, you know, I'm pretty proud of how this has been built out. And I have a lot more other N8N ideas that I want to build out here on the channel as well as a post, right? My goal is to get at least one N8N video out a week. Maybe it'll be 2, depending if I'm behind on some coding videos. But this is really awesome. And I've been loving this platform. So and that is it for this video. And let me know what you guys think on it. I was going to also include my webcam, but it decides to lag quite a bit on these videos. So whenever I get into computer, I'll do that. Additionally, if you want to join my Discord server, you have this right over here. So this is the thumbnail for this video. I said excited for Friday. This actually might be Wednesday's video. We have some other stuff in here as well. So make sure to join our Discord server on that side of things. Subscribe if you are new, and check out the N8N playlist, which is going to be on the screen right now. See you guys in another video.